Hi everyone, this is Elena and welcome to another video using Concord and 9th Lucky Bundle. Before I start, I just want to apologize for my voice. I sound congested. I'm battling a cold, so I apologize for that. So I'm using the bundle and I'm going to do some ink kind of fall watercolor wash. I'm using Mint Julep, Aqua Mist, and a tropical teal in cubes from Paper Tray Ink and just smooshing them onto my craft mat. And I'm using Bristol vellum paper to do the background. After I smoosh that on my craft mat, I'm just spritzing with water. And then I am smooshing my cardstock, my Bristol vellum cardstock into that pool of ink. And just picking up color. It's looks kind of washed out, a little bit faded. So I just wanted to add a little bit darker color. So I'm just cleaning my mat and I'll add some more ink and a little less water than the previous time. I'm just adding a couple spritzes of water and picking that ink up again. You can see I'm getting a little bit darker color now. So once I'm done, I'm going to use my heat tool to dry this. Just adding a little bit more water, and actually I added here the sparkle spritz, like I'll have listed on my blog in the supplies. The shimmers spray sparkle. Sorry, uh, I blanked out of the name. So I'm just heat setting this. I'm just drying it. I dry it from back and the front, so I have again flat surface. Next, I'm just smoosh some more ink from the tropical teal of my craft mat, and I splattered onto my background. Next, I'm using the Fine-Tech Mica gold watercolors. I'm just picking some up with my paintbrush and adding some water and just spraying that, kind of splattering it onto my background again. And this one I like this one better because than the Kuretake ones, the gold ones, because it's more intense and it's kind of more opaque. So next I'm taking some Distress ink, Distress acrylic paint actually, and I just spritz that one using old toothbrush. Next I die cut the Lucky Sentiment, both the thin outline and then the thick one from gold shimmer paper. I'm going to use just the outline and the thin stripes. I'm just separating all the parts. I'm going to keep the rest that I'm not going to use on this card for future cards. So next I'm positioning that die onto my background. I'm just going to secure it with some microspore tape so it doesn't move while I'm trying to run it through my Big Shot. So the magic of YouTube, I've already die cut that. So I have all the pieces and parts. You need to be careful when you do this to not lose one of the small pieces because we're gonna piece this back together. So I'm just lying that one there. Next I'm just getting some sticky adhesive and a Nina White cardstock panel, a little bit smaller than my background. And I'm adding the sticky adhesive onto that one, and I'll adhere it onto the back of my main panel, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is just 1/8 inch smaller than my main panel. So I'm just kind of rubbing that adhesive onto the cardstock, kind of burnishing it. Next I'll just add that one on back of my watercolor wash panel. And now I can start piecing everything back together. Just rubbing it so it sticks nicely, adheres nicely to my background. First I'll start with the outline. I'm just removing those little pieces that the teal pull ones will go in there. I'm just making sure it's nicely along the lines. Kind of pressing it down so it adheres nicely and securely. So there we have that part. Next, I want to do the little pieces. Kind of, this is like some sort of paper piecing. So I'm just pressing those little parts and along the edges with my tweezers. So next I decided to the sentiment, do the die cut sentiment on top to stamp the Lucky with a darker color. I'll use the tropical teal. So I'm using my Misty. So position that, and I'm using the negative from the die cut, from the brushed gold one. So I'm just stamping that on the scrap piece of cardstock. Kind of moving that, repositioning because it moved. Next, I'm positioning on top that negative image, and then I'm placing inside my die cut. So that way I'll have perfectly centered, and I don't need to worry if I'm stamping with acrylic block that I'll do it perfectly centered. This way I know that it will come out right. So I'm just pressing that down, and I have that stamped now. So now move back onto piecing everything together. Remove that outline. So I'll just stick this one down and press it down in place. I got a little bit ink on my fingers. Next I'll do the outlines on the L and the Y. And then we just have the gold outline of the Y, and then the teal, the pool one. So we're done piecing this one together. So next I'll do that little thin Lucky sentiment from the brush gold. I'm just using some wax paper to kind of burnish everything together so it sticks down nicely. So next I'll use the Ranger Multi Matte Medium to adhere the Lucky. So I just, magic of YouTube, I have that applied adhesive on the whole sentiment. I'm just adhering, pressing it down on top of that one, and then I'm kind of pressing it down through that wax paper. Next, I decided to use the I am and we're friends from the stamp set and the stars. So I wanted the card to say, I'm lucky we're friends. I'm positioning that in the Misty because I'll stamp a couple times with using Versamark ink, so I have good coverage, and that way, because I'll be embossing it, so that way I'll have good coverage of the embossing powder, and it will be more kind of will be visible. So I stamp that twice. Next I'll apply gold embossing powder. So that's good. Now I'm going to the I am. That's good too. Now I'm removing the extra embossing powder using just regular paintbrush. Next step is to heat set and then stamp the stars. I'll position those in the corner. Again, I'm applying the embossing powder tool. So I'll pick that and I'll stamp again twice using the Versamark. Then I'll turn it around and do it in the opposite corner. Next, again, I'll apply some of the gold embossing powder. remove the excess, the scattered one that went where it should not, and then just heat set it. So we're almost done here. So next I'm using some fun foam and white card base. I just wanted to add a little bit more dimension, so I'm adhering the panel onto fun foam and then onto my white card base. And one last step to finish up the card is add some sequins. So I'm just using my tweezers to pick them out and scatter them around on the card front. And then I'm using again the Ranger Multi-Matte Medium and some microtip applicators to adhere them. And the card is finished. Thanks for watching and come back soon for another video. Bye!